So a bit of spitballing from me today. Where are we? It's a very famous graveyard. My goodness, imagine a famous graveyard in Glasgow called the Necropolis. And I think a lot of the great and the good of the Victorian era are buried over there. I've never actually been in it. It's another very historic part of the city, Glasgow Cathedral up there. Because I believe the Mouldineer River ran about here, maybe even under the road, down to the River Clyde. So this is actually where the city was born and developed from. Anyway, that's not today's rant. Today's rant is Nicola Sturgeon's resignation. Now, she's been First Minister of Scotland for what, about 8 years or something? On some levels, she was an amazing politician. And on other levels, she was not such a good politician. How was she amazing? Well, she had good chat, or as we say in Scotland, patter. She certainly knew how to handle the press. I worked with her a couple of times actually. She exuded confidence and she was very, very charismatic. Just came across as being a real nice lady. In fact, one of the events I worked with her, it was pre-COVID. She appeared in a black Glasgow hackney cab. Come into the event, it was in the Gorbals in Glasgow, which was quite a rundown area. It isn't so much now. It's becoming gentrified like most of the other places in the city. However, she appeared in the taxi, got out the taxi herself without a security guard, walked amongst her people in the Gorbals. Now again, a lot of the people there were immigrants into Scotland, ethnic minorities, and there were a lot of, should I call them, wifeys, wee Glasgow women with their kids, and Nicola just sailed through the middle of a lot of it, taking selfies. There was no paranoia in the women whatsoever, and she wasn't frightened to walk amongst her people. And I would say that the people absolutely adored her. There were kids getting photographs taken with her and stuff. So that made her an amazing politician, right? So why wasn't she an amazing politician? Naively, back in 2014, I was vehemently pro-Scottish independence. We were riding on the back of a line at the time. The hatchet job that was done in Alex Salmond, and we'll come to that in a minute, I believe was because he was a threat to the British establishment, the British state, right? However, in 2014, I was vehemently pro-Scottish independence. If you think about it, Scotland's got mammoth natural resources, and we'll get to this one in a minute as well. When I look how well the Norwegian economy's done in the past year since the war in the Ukraine, then I look at Scotland. We're frightened to put fuel into our cars, we're frightened to switch our heating on, and we live in the most energy rich country in Europe. It's absolutely insane. So where was I going with this? 2014, I was vehemently pro-Scottish independence. I kinda am now, but I think the veil has lifted a bit, and I realise that politics are quite divisive, and the dream of Scottish independence would be us having a nationalised energy company. I would leave NATO. I wouldn't have anything to do with that crock of nonsense. I would declare neutrality in Scotland as well, and I'd possibly raise a militia. That would be my dream. You're talking to, or I'm talking to my phone, but I'm a vegetarian pacifist. However, if we can't take on massive militaries, what you can do is what the people in Switzerland have done, and that's train everybody how to use guns, isn't it? Anybody messes with you, you're going to give them a real hard time. So it's another form of a country being able to look after itself. So where was I going with this? So she walked out amongst the grannies and the wains, as we say in Scotland, and she was very charismatic, very confident. I chatted to her briefly. I think I might have offered her an oat cookie. The woman has no fear, so amazing. However, what I'm going to say, the Alex Salmond thing, I do not believe for 1 minute that Nicola Sturgeon wasn't aware of what was going on within her party. In fact, if you look into the details of that court case, it was her inner coterie that tried to get the guy jailed, which is absolutely disgusting. One of the charges was for rape. Now imagine falsely accusing somebody of rape. It doesn't get nastier than that. It's accusing somebody of being a murderer or something. So her inner coterie were involved up to their eyeballs in that court case. There was a WhatsApp group as well where her husband was involved in sending messages back and forward to co-conspirators, could I call them that? So the idea that Nicola Sturgeon didn't know about it, I think that's just absolute bollocks. And take that one a bit further, I think she was also probably very actively involved in it as well. So that managed to split the Scottish independence movement right down the middle, didn't it? Alex Salmond was a major asset to that campaign because he's a Rottweiler. He is one of the best politicians in Europe, wasn't he? And for us to have somebody like Alex Salmond, then Nicola Sturgeon appearing, Scotland being blessed with some pretty political heavyweights. Salmond was a bit of a divisive figure, not for me. I think the guy was inspirational. But anyway, I think she was involved in the stitch up to try to jail Alex Salmond. If she wasn't, her husband and a lot of people that she works with were involved with trying to jail Alex Salmond. So that's scumball stuff. That's really nasty gear. Other ones are over the past year. I'm on Twitter. I try not to use it too much, but I skip between Twitter and YouTube quite a lot. There's this Gender Recognition Act. Now, if I had been Nicola Sturgeon, what I would have said is, when Scotland becomes independent, we will write a constitution that protects the rights of every one of our citizens, and kick that one into the long grass. I know to trans people this is stuff really important, but and we should look after minorities. It doesn't matter whether you're black, gay, Muslim, Jewish or whatever. People should be covered by laws that protect everyone. Yeah. So anyway, I would have kicked the trans thing into the long grass. I don't know why she had so much skin in that fight, but that was another thing that split the independence movement straight down the middle. So I think she devoted a lot of time, energy and effort onto something that was basically a nothing burger. Now, if any trans people watch this, I'm sorry. However, I think she devoted a lot of time into something that was fairly irrelevant. Why am I saying that? Because, as I said earlier on, Scotland is possibly the most energy-rich country in Europe, and we are finding it difficult to heat our houses. We are finding it difficult to fuel our cars. So that, to me, is just like an astonishing political breakdown. That's the stuff that we need to focus on, nuts and bolts. In this city of Glasgow, I've managed to get myself out of poverty. However, there's still poor souls out there that are sitting in cold houses. It's the 21st century. We should have crushed Westminster underfoot about that one, and that should have been one of the punching points to further the independent cause. The next one that freaks me out is we've got a hot war going on in Europe. Scotland houses 220 American nuclear weapons in Faslane in Coolport. Scotland is home to there's Union Jacks painted on the side of the submarines, but everything about Britain's nuclear deterrent is American. It's nothing to do with Britain. So there's a hot war raging in Europe. From what I can see, the Russians have not only kicked the Ukrainian military's backside into the Stone Age, the American Free supplied them middle of the year. So the first Ukrainian army went down within 6 months. The second Ukrainian army has now went down. America's lost billions of dollars trying to mess with the Russians. Read some history books, guys. This will not pan out in your favour. And now this is the third armament of the Ukrainian military. So from a Scottish perspective, NATO has been demilitarised. They've got hardly any weapons, they've got nothing to send into the Ukraine. NATO does not have the continuity that the Russian military have got in their equipment. And Russian society, their education system, their national service is all geared against fighting NATO on their border. The Russians are going to win. I mean, my heart breaks for the Ukrainians, but it's a meat grinder. The poor guys are thrown into that fight. And, So anyway, that's a bit of a sidetrack from Nicola Sturgeon and all this type of thing. We need Rottweilers in Westminster saying to Westminster, get rid of those nuclear weapons. We are the biggest sitting duck in Europe because of that weapons base. The people of Scotland never get a chance to vote in this stuff. The amount of jobs that we've got from it are pathetic, and it's an environmental catastrophe. Various things, SEPA, I've said they would shut down Fazelon and Coolport if they had the ability to do this. Now I know some switched on Scottish people are going to say to me, energy isn't devolved to the Scottish Government and neither is defence. I don't care. You use it as a big stick, don't you? You shout and bawl about it, you get it all across the media. You ram it down their throats until the people of Scotland wake up and go, why are we staying in cold houses? Why have we got 220 American nuclear weapons stored in our country? Could you imagine what the Russian military would do to their bases? Could you imagine what they'd do? Scotland would be turned into a pile of radioactive ash. The Ukraine is not in NATO. The Ukraine is not in Europe. It's got nothing to do with the people of Scotland. If we were going to do anything diplomatically, it should be to offer the Russians and the Ukrainians a safe haven, come to Scotland, negotiate a settlement, negotiate a ceasefire. So anyway, this is a long-winded one, over 11 minutes. I'll wrap it up, right? So she was a brilliant politician in that she was very, very approachable. She was down to earth. She had remarkable communication skills. The focusing on stuff that is not that big a deal, she picked a cross to crucify herself on. And for such a clever woman, to me, that just looked absolutely pathetic. It looked really stupid. So there's my take on Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon, Scottish politics, weapons of mass destruction. You know, Scotland. So the last thing that I'm going to throw in here, I said earlier on that I had like a naive dream of Scottish independence. That submarine base and the nuclear weapons storage facility before the Channel Tunnel was built, Coolport, it's a hollowed out mountain that they store weapons in. I've heard there's biological and chemical weapons in there as well. I don't know whether that's true or not, but Coolport was the most expensive engineering project in British history before the Channel Tunnel was built. So that gives you an idea of the amount of money that was invested in stuff when we've got people sitting in homes that they can't heat, you know. It's an indictment on Scots as a people that we've got cold and hungry people in our country, and that shit stain on humanity is sitting over there and nobody's doing anything about it. So my naivety about Scottish independence, we're not just taking on the might of the British Empire, whatever the hell that means anymore. Britain's on its last legs, it's on its arse, you know. This country is a laughing stock, it's a joke, isn't it? We're not only taking on the British Empire, who do not want to lose the revenue from the oil and the gas, the two most vital commodities on the planet in the past year since the Ukraine war broke out, are oil and gas, and Scotland's got lots of both of them. We also export electricity. Who are the companies that mainly exploiting Scotland's oil and gas? Are American companies. The weapons bases are American weapons bases. For Scotland to be an independent country, the people of Scotland have to take on the British Empire, in inverted commas, because they are absolute vassals of the American government, aren't they? They've got them in their puppets here. Since Brexit, it's got even worse. You know, we've got no backup whatsoever. Whatever the Americans tell Rishi Sunak, Boris or anybody else to do, they do it. So Scotland's not just taking on the might of the British Empire, we're taking on the might of the American Empire as well. And I don't see how we can do it. I honestly don't see how we can do it. I dream of the sunlit uplands. But geopolitically and from a strategic point of view, Fazelon and Coolport that's like a king and a queen in a chessboard. They will not want to give up the bases, and the amount of money Britain makes out exploiting Scotland's oil is insane. We're seeing these energy companies posting billions upon billions of pounds worth of profit. It's all coming for Scottish wars. And we're sitting in cold houses frightened to switch our heatings on in our cars. The fabric of our country is just, it's torn to shreds. We're the laughing stock of the world, aren't we? Possibly the only place more important in the UK is Germany. That Olaf Scholz guy, he should put himself out of his own misery. Anyway, nice cheery upload, but bye-bye Nicola Sturgeon, thanks for all the good things you done, and why did you do all these stupid things? Was she an asset of the British state? Why is a guy in an old van sitting talking about the geopolitical position of a nuclear weapons base, a submarine base, and Scotland's commodities? Why weren't the SNP shouting and bawling about all this stuff? The war in Ukraine was a perfect opportunity for these people to up their game. Go into Westminster, start smashing some heads off of some benches. That was metaphorical. I'm a vegetarian pacifist. So a nice cheery upload. Nicola, thanks for the good stuff you did and for the silly stuff you did. I don't know. You worked real hard for Scotland. Good luck with the rest of your life. However, for the people of Scotland to actually ever benefit, like the Norwegians, from natural resources, we would have to be prepared to pick up arms, because the Americans aren't going to shut down Fazel and Coolport. They're just not going to do it, you know. So has my naivety disappeared? I'm still hopeful, but I've not got the passion that I had for it in 2014. Again, I think Alex Salmond and the cabinet they had at that time, they were bears, they were Rottweilers, you know. They were the people. There are definitely people in the inner rankings of the SNP that are MI5 assets. Didn't follow that stuff, is it? No. There are people in Stuart MacDonald, I might got the guy's name wrong, their defence spokesperson. He works for the British state, man. There's no two ways about it. And there's a few other ones that I can't remember their names. On Twitter, I've actually blocked most of them. Nicola Sturgeon's blocked, you know, all these idiots. Can't be bothered with them anyway. So it's good to dream and all that type of stuff. However, we're not just fighting America. We're fighting Britain and America, or fighting, are we? We'd have to have some of the greatest thinkers on the planet to be able to kibosh these people. Alrighty, right. 17-minute video, oh my god, sorry about that. Right, see you later, bye bye.